Unless you've been living under a rock, or several rocks, for the past few months, you're aware of this little game that's been making the rounds lately, called Umamusume Pretty Derby. You could say it's doing alright, and serving as a new rabbit hole for many to fall into. Well, I'm one of those people. And honestly, it's the most fun I've had playing a video game in a long, long time. In fact, it's the first game I've spent any significant time on in years, not counting hours related on my phone. Thanks to auto battles, much of that is idle time, so I don't really count it as proper gameplay. Though simultaneously, Umamusume provides both extreme amounts of hype as well as frustration, and that somehow leads to a very enjoyable game experience. But the question is why? Before we get further into things, just a quick introduction for anybody who might be new here. Welcome to Ascendant Fiction, where I mostly talk endlessly about girls on Panzer and other cute girls doing military things anime, with some branching out into stuff that hits at least one of those two notes, like Umamusume now. I also write my own books, light novels, and manga, the latter of which, I hope, will be coming out by the end of the year. So I invite you to check them out. That taken care of, back to the Horse Girl game. Suffice to say, Umamusume more than lives up to the hype. But you didn't need me to tell you that. Pretty much everyone online has been doing that for the past few weeks now. But as I fell deeper into the rabbit hole, and I've watched all of the various Umamusume anime content by now, as well, I got more interested in understanding just why I've been enjoying the game so much. As with most things, there's no single reason for that. There's enough strategy involved that thought needs to be put into the gameplay. Gacha games are designed to be engaging and addicting, of course. And obviously, cute anime girls doing cute things is always fun after all. And while I was never particularly interested in horse racing history, until now, the history nerd in me really does appreciate the fact that all the girls in game are named for and inspired by real-life racehorses. And that the various anime, in particular, do a really great job recreating key moments from their actual careers and interlacing that into the in-universe story. But that's a discussion for another video. So a couple days after my addiction to this game began, as I was listening to the radio broadcast of a Mets baseball game,
it's not always about the money, Spider-Man. It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. All right, baby, let's go. Get a home run, baby. Love the Mets. Let's go, Mets.
I finally figured it out. It's just sports. The same appeal on a basic level, and eliciting the same feelings and reactions. The streamer Northern Lion actually voiced an opinion like this shortly after the game first came out, and he got addicted to it as well. In my opinion, he got a lot more backlash for his comments than he really deserved. Though I don't think he phrased his thoughts in the best way there, which I think is what led some people to have a negative reaction to his comments. Now, I don't consider myself too hardcore a sports fan, but I've been a fairly avid Mets fan for most of my life. Though largely due to where I live now, I only get to watch or listen to games online whenever the time difference allows. Another sport I follow and train in myself is American Ninja Warrior. And I'm finding, the more I think about it, a lot of parallels between what I enjoy in both of these and what I find so fun about Umamusume Pretty Derby. When I watch or listen to a baseball game, or watch ninja competitors run the Ninja Warrior course, for example, I'm rather invested in the outcome, while also knowing that I have no way of personally impacting it. I'll admit that I yell at the screen at times, cheer the team on when the moment calls for it, react when a ninja competitor makes it through a tough obstacle, etc. Meanwhile, when I watch my trainees race in Umamusume, I similarly have no impact on the outcome, with a caveat that I'll get into in a minute. But I also find myself cheering her on, and getting quite animated throughout the race. I don't know how much of that will come through if and when I stream more gameplay of Umamusume, since I naturally tend to not be quite as animated in that way when I'm not alone, but we'll see. In any case, it really does activate the same portions of my competitive brain, and the desire to try and will the person or team I support to succeed, as illogical as that might technically be. Yes, the anime girls in Umamusume aren't real, but in a way, professional athletes are celebrities who have as little, if not less, impact or connection to my real life as fictional characters do. So getting invested in them and their success is almost as far removed from my life as these anime horse girls. Of course, as I alluded to above, you don't have zero control over the results in Umamusume Pretty Derby. You get to train your horse girl, have her learn useful skills, and spend time with her throughout the career mode, even if you speed through most of the copious dialogue, since you only have so much time to play. But through this training simulator where you do put thought and work, and in an indirect way, money as well, into giving your Umas the best chance to succeed, plus, at least for many of us, the character's story and the knowledge of the real horse's life, gives a measure of personal investment that while certainly can exist on a lesser level when it comes to the major team sports, I find to have more in common with individual sports like Ninja Warrior, which I've watched regularly, both the American and the Israeli version, for years now. There are competitors there that I've just personally come to like, whether simply because of their performance or their story, and Ninja Warrior does give you some measure of the background of most of the competitors, as a component of the show itself, or even just simply due to having watched them long enough that I want to see them finally win. In Ninja, for example, due to my advanced age of mid-30s now, I tend to more root for the ninjas in that age bracket over all these teenage kids taking over the sport, since I kind of identify with the older folks a little bit more now. Also, with Ninja, I do occasionally have an actual personal investment in a given competitor, since there have been people in both the American and Israeli versions of the show who I've met and or trained with at one point or another. So you bet I get more excited when I see them get their shot, and more so when they succeed. Something that comes naturally to most of us humans is that we enjoy seeing people overcome adversity and succeed in things against the odds. And there are plenty of athletes out there who have had to face down one challenge or another, whether some disease, an injury, or other kind of personal issues. While it's not reflected as much in the game as in the anime, since it'd kind of throw things for a loop if the Umas in the game could fracture their leg, it is still us seeing the characters who we know overcame a lot succeed. Yes, we cannot personally help our real-life athletes prepare for their sports like we do our Umas through training, but that's an aspect of the game that just fills in a potentially missing aspect of the personal investment in their success. Again, these aspects of 3D people sports are basically activating the same competitive, sports-minded portion of my brain that the anime Horse Girl game does. It really does deliver the biggest hype moments when your Horse Girl wins a close race, and it can be excruciatingly frustrating when she loses, and more so when you just keep getting late starts and rushed during races, or one sleep-deprived after another, just like it can be when my baseball team just cannot score runs for some darn reason, despite you knowing that they have it in them. Of course, in-game, it's never the fault of our beloved horse girls, rather the game RNG being evil and out to get us. But I don't think any game has gotten more pure gamer rage out of me, and as unfun as those moments can be, it really says a lot about the game itself and how invested it gets us. And those ultimate high moments just make all the suffering worth it. Just like all those years of terrible Mets baseball will stop mattering to me once I get to see them finally win it all. Hopefully soon. And obviously, one thing the game will always have over real sports is the cute anime girls, who are just naturally more inherently likable than human athletes. And you also never have to worry about a horse girl doing something bad IRL and ruining the image of them. I have at points experienced that level of disappointment with athletes I've been a fan of, so I can attest to that being even more unfun than bad luck in Umamusume. You also can't forget the gacha gambling aspect, of course, which is more than a little addicting. But at least for me, that's on a lesser level, and my budget prevents me from actually getting too deep into that part of the game. When you add all of this to the fact that the girls in-game are all named for and inspired by real-life racehorses, that adds another level of direct sports connection to latch onto, and it does let you become more connected with and attached to the characters, since these aren't just purely fictional anime girls created for a game. They're carrying on the legacies of real horses with stories sometimes star-studded, sometimes tragic, which parallels the sort of inspiration you can get from the stories and struggles of real-life human athletes. So to sum up, even when it probably shouldn't be too much of a huge shock, the biggest reason that Umamusume Pretty Derby is such a fun and also infuriating game is because the franchise inspired by and honoring the sport of horse racing, shockingly enough, evokes in us the same feelings and reactions that quote-unquote real sports often do. And I really do think that a lot of Umamusume fans would also enjoy following other sports, and vice versa. So whichever side of that fence you live on, it's worth giving the other side a try. And I of course just recommend the game to anyone who might even be mildly interested in general. Just beware of gacha addiction, and try not to break your desk when things go badly. I've got plenty more to say about Umamusume as a franchise, but for now let's just say that it's shot to the top echelon of my favorite fictional franchises of all time, like a late surger shooting to the front near the end of a race. But there's enough to talk about there that it'll require a separate video, so look forward to that soon. Along with, most likely, more Umamusume related content in one form or another in the near future, along with the usual Girls on Panzer and other related content. I've completely fallen down this rabbit hole, and I'm determined to drag as many of you down with me as possible. It's fun here. So if you enjoyed this video and like to support me in what I do here, my books and light novels are all available on Amazon. And you can get early access to videos, sneak peeks, and updates on my upcoming military Mori manga and other projects by subscribing over on Patreon. I also offer channel memberships, which get you access to monthly members-only watch-along streams, in which I'm currently watching/rewatching Zoid's Chaotic Century. And of course, if you have any thoughts on this video or there's anything else related to Umamusume you'd like me to talk about, feel free to share them in the comments section below. I'd love to hear them, and while I might not get to respond to every comment, at least not in a timely manner, I can guarantee that I do read each of them. And for anyone new here who's still watching, you really ought to check out Girls on Panzer, which is another franchise featuring cute anime girls doing sports in a wholesome manner, also paying a measure of homage and respect to certain historical things. Finally, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any future uploads. That's all for now, so until next time.